Welcome to another round of Soccer's in Session here, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. John Nelson here, and we're going to, for the next hour, let you know what's going on through the Georgia high school soccer scene on the men's and women's side. And once again, because of travel plans, that's why Soccer's in Session is Thursday as opposed to our traditional midweek Wednesday noontime slot. Earlier this week, we were down in Hazelhurst to catch up with our friends down there at Jeff Davis. We were there for Jeff Davis and Appling on the network, and you can catch any of our action on the network. You can download the Mixlr app, Mixlr, or you can go to soccerdownhere.mixlr.com if you just like to do things on a browser side of things, and you can listen to all of the matches. If you go to Mixlr, you can follow Soccer Down Here, follow SDH2 on those days where we have a lot of things going on, and when you can catch up with all of the action, you even get an email notification that there is something live on the Mixlr channel. So once again, you can go to soccerdownhere.mixlr.com. You can download the Mixlr app. You can catch up with us all season long with our live events, whether it's high school, the twos, or anything else in between. And one of the teams that we are going to be having on the network is tomorrow. And it is the doubleheader at Johnson-Gainesville. And it is GAC and Johnson-Gainesville hanging out with us. It is now time to catch up with part of the equation. It is time to catch up with the head coach on the girls' side, Tia Graves. Coach, thanks for dropping by here and spending a little bit of the lunch hour with us here on In Session.
Hi, yes, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, this is great. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so I'm going to go into a no dilly, no dally zone here. So with everything that has gone on so far, 8-0, 3-0 out of the blocks in reach in 6 AAA. If I had told you at this point of the season that you would be 8-0, that you would have only given up 3 goals in 8 matches, that you would be fine home or away, you've won 4 either side, what would you have told me at this point of the year if you were 8-0, 3-0, and the defense was what it was?
Man, it's interesting just this season alone, just the difference, especially the lineup with just the new regions, new classifications. So not that I didn't want to go into the season blind or try not to think of that, but I basically told the girls in the beginning of the season kind of like how this new alignment's going to work out. And the best way I can explain it to the girls without overcomplicating things is essentially hey, listen, coming first in region is really the only way to absolutely guarantee that we're in. So every game matters, to where in the past, not that every game didn't matter, but region weighted a whole lot more. So kind of stressing that importance of every game has really increased the work rate and level of competition every single match. Not that we didn't have that last year, but I think that they understand the importance of every game has really just elevated their gun-ho spirit every match. And along with that too, just like other schools as well, since we are a smaller school, we do somewhat compete with sharing athletes. I had a lot of girls still in the basketball season. I have a lot of girls, I have 27 girls on my roster, and 18 of them play club. So, and they're all different clubs. So it's trying to navigate that piece. We still actually haven't had a match this year where we've had our entire roster. So, every single game has been okay, they're not going to be here because of this showcase. They're not going to be here because of this, or this person's hurt. So every week has been brand new and then I have a great coaching staff, and just kind of how I prep my week. Okay, practice is going to be great because we have all these drills, but so-and-so's not going to be there, so I need to put her on this team, so every week is different. So I'm obviously glad that we've been successful and that the girls have been so adaptable to different roles every week just because of who we're lacking. So, but yeah, no, as far as just, I really forgot we were undefeated until this past game on Tuesday. And one of the girls, they wanted to post. I'm like, oh, can we post that we're undefeated? And doing an emoji crown because we're the queens right now. I'm like, first of all, we need to tone this down. I don't like that. I love confidence, especially from, teenage girls. Cause you don't get that as much as I used to coach boys club years ago. And man, the entitlement they have from the get-go at 8 years old, it's something I have to kind of teach and encourage for the girls' side. So they already have this, hey, we're undefeated. Let's put that out there. I'm like, oh, we are. So I don't know if that's bad on my part, but I think I'm just so focused by week, game by game, and breaking that down that I forgot how great of a feat that is. But I definitely don't want that to be a distraction for our girls, to say the least.
Ranked 15th nationally in some polls as well. Do you have a checkerboard grid someplace on some large, gigantic dry erase board with 27 names down the sides and days of the week between now and like May 1st with like X's and check marks and things like that? How do you piece this together?
So it's funny you say that. I have a roster every week, and I have to like mark out dates of like, hey, showcase, college visit. They're on a mission trip. Like it's crazy. Like I have a new one every week to kind of mark down. Okay, who do they have in practice? Like if I don't have this girl on Friday, our PK lineups are going like this. If I don't have this person here, so it's like I said. I think that's kind of why not that I wasn't proud of the girls being undefeated. I try to give them all the praise, but man, like trying to navigate all of those pieces is definitely a full-time job. So I'm just thankful the girls, like I said, just to be so adaptable. Like, hey, so-and-so's not going to be here. We're rotating this formation. Or, hey, it's going to look like this week. So they have just been like a sponge, just being able to absorb anything that we kind of put out on that week. And so, yeah, it's definitely been a tremendous blessing to have those type of like high-tier athletes at this point. They're utility players, and we're just taking it week by week on who plays where.
All right, brag on them a little bit. Who stood out for you so far this season?
Oh man, how much time we got? No.
Frank Zamora is coming up in 9 minutes, so you can do whatever you want.
Okay, so like I said before, we've yet to have everyone at one game. So as soon as that game comes, I cannot wait the magic that's produced. And granted, like we've already been really successful, so. And I'm like, oh, how can it get better? Like, last game or certain games, I'm like, oh man, this is peak. And I'm like, man, we don't even have everybody yet. But as far as girls that stand out, a girl that's getting a lot of national attention right now is Ren Kincaid. She's a sophomore this year. Midfielder for us, could also be a forward. She plays the attacking mid role. She can also play that wing. She can play up top. So again, she's a utility player. But man, when I say I've never seen someone so poetic on the ball, I mean, it's just like, there's no words to describe how quick she is with the ball. It looks just like a natural movement. The ball looks like actually a part of her body, and just how skillful she is and quick she is. She makes so many people miss, and it puts a target on her back for sure. Because going more into the haven't at this point, like I said, we hadn't played it hadn't had everybody at a game, but coaches are noticing like, hey, let's man mark her, or like let's double her up once she's entered the 6. So it's no secret now of her ability. And so now trying to move forward from that, we may have to like try to change her role. So make sure, it's not too much for her to handle. But Ren Kincaid, an outstanding player. She was actually the only freshman last year that started every game. And we were very successful last year winning the 5A state championship. So she's carried on that tradition, and she has started every game that she's been able to attend this year. So Ren Kincaid, just an outstanding piece for our midfield. So another piece, a really important piece, is Sophia Ajian. Also plays that role, but other in the midfield is where she recently committed to Emory to play, and she's a senior this year. Again, every game she's been to, she has started, so that hasn't been every game, obviously, but again, a really big piece. Our team this year is very midfield heavy, and I'm not talking fitness wise. I'm talking just like game awareness, our touches, just their vision of the game as it unfolds. We just have a ton of that. So Sophia is one of those big pieces as well. And of course, being a senior, having that experience in leadership is extremely helpful. Another big piece in that midfield is Leah Bobian, who recently also committed to Bryant University. Man, very skillful with the ball. Like she can make you look stupid before you blink. I mean, she is just so good on the ball. And she plays, like, again, she's one of those midfielder positions that we can kind of rotate her anywhere. She actually played up top for us for the first time Tuesday. And that might be something we kind of look at in the future because, man, she just creates with anyone that she's around. Everyone has her different style, and she just is a chameleon. She knows exactly what you're going to do, and she just plays off of it. So that kind of chemistry she can have with anyone on the team, I think we may have to make her more of a forward role. But, man, she just creates so much, not even like penetrating down the middle, but whenever she takes a channel on the outside, she can just ping a ball to put it on someone's foot, head, chest, wherever they want it. And she is a junior this year. And, again, she has started since freshman year, so she has that experience. She kind of knows, like my tactics and going forward. So she's essentially like another coach on the field. Before I even yell out to her, she's already making those adjustments. So she is a really big piece as well. Like I said, we are tremendously blessed with just not talent, just like girls that just know the game. Because, I feel like I have a lot of players that are talented, but when a situation happens in a game, like how quickly can they adjust? How quickly are they, interpreting that information, and so I just have a handful of girls that are just able to do that like on a dime. And so it just really elevates like our play. Some other seniors, a big standout seniors is my defense right now. I have 3 seniors on the back line. So really big gap to fill next year. But like I said, taking it week by week, my 2 center backs are seniors. One, Kelty Flood, is just such a leader back there. And man, she has a leg like no one. Like she can ping a ball from our own 6 to their 6 on a dime to somebody. Like it is she plays that ball very well. And we don't overuse it, but we surprise teams. And it is just like, even the coach is like, whoa, like, where'd that come from? So it's just, I love being able to surprise teams with that. We try not to overplay it just because of how much skill we have up top in the midfield. So it's great to have that threat as well. And I'll cap it off with my goalkeeper, Riley James, who is a senior and has played keeper for a year and a half. And let me tell you, like last year we kind of had a little bit of an opening for keeper, and like I played keeper in college, and that's what I coached in college too before I came here. So that's my bread and butter. And we just didn't really have a very confident, keeper. And so one day we were kind of just rotating girls playing keeper, and she decided to dive, and it looked so natural. And I said, "Hey, I got a pair of gloves for you. You're going to be a keeper now." So, and it's so great to work with someone who, 1, has that ability, and 2, is just hungry for it. And so she actually took on that goalkeeping role in the middle of the season last year. And the fact that we won state with a brand new keeper is phenomenal. But the fact that she stopped 3 PKs in the last 4 seasons, I mean, the instincts on that girl, phenomenal. And so it has been such a joy to like coach her and just watch her grow, because she has just taken that on full force. And so she's our senior keeper this year and also a captain-elect. So, again, I could talk about everyone, but I think those are some of our big key players for this season for sure.
Okay, Frank Zamora coming up in a couple of minutes. So we're going to play like CFL and go 3-minute warning here.
Oh, no.
All right. So you got the matchup coming up against Johnson-Gainesville. What's study hall been like getting ready for this one?
Yeah, no, I think it's been a little interesting. A lot of my scouting reports have kind of come from some other coaches, word of mouth, a few clips here and there. I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think sometimes I'll get too much information on a team, overthink things, and I don't want to overcomplicate things with the girls. But at the end of the day, like, we kind of know their threats. We have a plan on how to neutralize their threats. And I sometimes don't want girls to overthink that. At the end of the day, if we just play our game, I feel like there's a lot of teams that just like that can't handle our game, because we're not just a team with one player. We have a lot of great talent that no team can man mark every threat. So I think just, telling my girls like, hey, this is what we're going into. This is their lineup. This is their strengths. This is their weaknesses. And I think our strengths are going to eliminate their strengths. And I think our weaknesses are not going to be exposed because of how the pace of the game that we play. I think that we're just going to be able to not only match up with them well, but be able to expose them in a way to where our strengths are even elevated on the field. So, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a good matchup. I'm hoping to get the better end of this game, but I think our girls are really confident going into the game tomorrow for sure.
All right, last question. What'd you learn about yourself on the road trip to the coast? You got 2 wins and 11 goals scored, but what'd you learn?
Well, a lot of things, maybe not soccer related. I had just literally come off the flu. So I was kind of slowly trying not to die that weekend, but it was actually a really great weekend. That first game was, that was a back and forth game. We were missing 4 starters actually, which was probably the biggest gap we had all year as far as missing people. Because usually miss maybe 1 or 2, but having 4 and all of them being like a big piece in the middle was definitely, I really had to call on some girls, and I thought they did an excellent job fulfilling those shoes that we had left open. That first game was back and forth. They actually got a late goal the last 5 minutes. It was just a little bit of a miscommunication on defensive counter. They got a quick header. 3-2 was the final, but the last 5 minutes was kind of like, oh, okay, we need to kind of hone it in and just kind of, possess the ball here. Second game wasn't really much of a challenge. Unfortunately, sometimes we can get games because the boys and girls will play us, so that's kind of a scheduling issue. But the second game was really not much of a game for us to get better at. It was kind of more so like who wants to boost their stats. You have 5 minutes to do it, and we do rotations. So, but yeah, no, it was definitely a successful weekend, not only for like our record, but just our team chemistry. That's one of the main reasons we take one of those trips, and it just really unifies us together. So.
No doubt about it. It's going to be great to call the games on the network tomorrow, both on the girls' side and the boys' side here at SDH. So we're looking forward to seeing you up there at Johnson-Gainesville tomorrow. Coach, thanks for dropping by. Don't be a stranger going in session.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and you have a great day.
All right, there goes Coach Graves. And so we go hot tag. We bring in Frank Zamora, the boys' head coach at Johnson-Gainesville. The other half of the equation. Frank, good to see you, my friend. What's going on?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Well, I mean, you're one of our go-tos as anticipation for the matches coming up on Friday night up there at Johnson-Gainesville. So I asked Coach Graves about the girls' side. Let me ask you about the flip side and the boys' side. What's study hall been like getting ready for GAC?
No, we've definitely watched film on them. Got a couple of scouts from coaches as well, but very similar. We don't want to overcomplicate it. We know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, we know their strengths and weaknesses, and so that's what we're going to work with. The boys are locked in, they're ready. We've had a slow start to the season early on, but we're starting to click, starting to play some good soccer, starting to build some confidence. And tomorrow's a big region matchup for us, so it's here at the Dungeon. So we're excited. We're excited for the game.
5-2 right now, 2-0 in region play, and I know that it's been an adjustment. We caught up with you earlier this season, broadcasting the matches up at Dalton. What have you learned about yourself in these first 7 matches to get to this point and this region game against GAC?
That we're going to have to show up to play every single game with the best of our ability. I think I have a lot of returners, a lot of seniors, some seniors with experience, but some seniors that are getting the start for the first time. They've waited in line for 3 years, and so they're finally stepping into some of those key roles for us. And so it's that learning curve that, yes, you've been on the team, you've been with the program, but it's different, right? Kind of learning and getting the reps at practice to now being the guy. So we have a couple of those seniors that are starting for us, a couple of younger guys that are stepping in as well. And so it's been a good mixture of experience and you guys, and just again kind of trying to get that chemistry going, building that confidence in some of these guys, and just learning about us.
You go to North Forsyth, you lose that one 2-0. The game that we had on the network where you lose at Dalton 2-1 in I'm not going to say sub-zero, but I mean it was not the most warm environs calling that particular match. And then you've ripped off 4 in a row. You beat Cherokee Bluff, you shut out them, you shut out Pickens. You had a big number up against White County, and then up against the Jefferson side that likes to challenge itself like you do. You win 3-0 in this 4-game win streak, and now getting to this point. You mentioned some of those seniors that are now getting their opportunity, and some younger guys. Where is it when it comes to the on-field chemistry? Are you getting there? Are you there? What do you think right now?
No, I think we're starting to play some good soccer. I think the chemistry is starting to solidify itself. I don't think we are where we need to be if we're trying to be a state contender, but we're definitely headed in the right direction. I'm pleased with where we are now, knowing that there's still a lot of room to grow, but we still have a lot of soccer left to play. So I think we're in a good spot at this point. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to be tested as well, a different type of test for us. But I mean, that's what it's about. It's about getting these teams. Obviously, GAC is a region opponent, but getting Dalton, getting Jefferson on the schedule, getting teams that resemble some of the teams that we might see in the playoffs, and being exposed early and knowing our weaknesses early so that we have time to clean up some of those weaknesses and, just improve over time, because we want to be playing our best soccer in May, not necessarily in February.
How difficult is it to schedule non-region games? I know that you can probably pick up the phone and talk to Bunky Colvin at McIntosh. You could talk to Matt up at Dalton, Matt Cheeves, and get those. But to fill out your spaces, how difficult is it to schedule non-region games because people know who's knocking on their door?
Right. No, it's not difficult at all. It's kind of the other way around for us. I get multiple emails, multiple coaches reach out to me. I mean, I have some coaches reaching out now about getting us on their schedule, so it hasn't been difficult. We know that we get, just like Dalton and McIntosh, we get everybody's best, right? And so everybody kind of wants to play us, and they want to see what they can do and how they measure up against Johnson soccer. And so in that sense, I have no difficulty really building my schedule. And thankfully, our girls program is solid as well as a good program. And so, when it comes to finding teams that want to play both of our programs, we definitely don't struggle with that.
Frank Zamora, the boys head coach up at Johnson-Gainesville, getting ready for the trip SDH Up to the Dungeon, where we get to check out GAC for the first time in broadcasting matches, short of playoffs and stuff. Regular season, I think the first time with GAC. Going to Johnson, we're having those matches on the network tomorrow. All right, time to brag on some of those seniors that have stepped into those roles. They've been around waiting for their chance. They've done well. For folks who might be wandering into the dungeon for the first time or listening to us, and I will say this: if you're going to the dungeon, go early, because you got to get tickets and you got to get in the door, because if you wait too late, there might not be a seat for you. Who are some of the folks that will be gravitating towards? So I walk in the door, I get a seat. I'm fortunate enough to get a seat. Who are some of the folks that I will be naturally gravitating toward to look at on your roster that have done well for you this year?
Yeah, no, we have a lot of strong players, both on the young side and experienced players. But Jalil Chavez, a senior this year, has been great for us in the attack. Leading with goals and assist. We also have Danny Trujillo, another senior who's gotten involved with the attack as well. We have Alex Gonzalez as a 6 that kind of dictates the game for us. We have Junior Castillo, a junior that is leading the team in goals this year so far. And he's fun to watch, and sometimes I just kind of sit back and let him do his thing. Very talented. Jordy Acosta came in and along with Miguel have stepped in as center backs for us. Miguel's a returner, a center back, but Jordy, that's new to being center back with us. He played different positions last year. And then Angel Quintero is the senior that waited for 3 years to get his opportunity, and he's been starting for me, and he's done a good job in the center of the field. And I can go on and on. We have some solid players and some young guys that are hungry, but should be a good match. The boys are ready for the challenge.
What's it like having someone like a Benjamin Villatoro grab the reins as an underclassman and still be there and continue to grow now as a 10th grader for you between the sticks? What's it like to see Villatoro continue his growth?
Yeah, no, he's had an amazing journey. Last year, due to injury and early on in the season, he became a number 1 guy, and so as a freshman, obviously there were some growing pains there for him, but he's come a long way. He had an injury in May playing club soccer that kept him out a couple of months, but he's back. He's strong. He's excited, and he's definitely a lot more experienced this year. And I'm excited to see where he will be his senior year. He's just a sophomore, so has a lot of room to continue to grow and develop. And he's going to be one of those leaders on the team for sure here in the next couple of years.
What does he still need to work on over these next little bits? What's the next step in his progression as he continues to grow as a keeper?
Yep, I think that leadership and being vocal with his back line. He's still a sophomore, and he still has to talk to the seniors and demand from his seniors. And so I think that's still an area of growth that he has to work on. Is, hey, on the field, you're not a sophomore. You're the goalkeeper. You're the leader of that back line. You lead from back there. You see it all. You talk to your guys and you demand from them as much as they demand from you. And so I think that that's something he can work on. But as with a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, talking to an 18-year-old, that's just going to come naturally with time, I believe.
I was going to ask we're going down the same road, and you might be reading my notes. But when you're 15 or 15 or 16, depending on when your birthday is, and you're having to tell 18-year-olds where to go and what to do, I would imagine that it's something that is intimidating in one aspect. It's something that you have to kind of push through. But it's that delicate dance. It's like, I'm back here and I'm a sophomore, but I got to tell you what to do. I'm not going to say it's an odd dichotomy, but it's a thing that you really got to tackle. And I think it's fairly difficult, at least from my perspective.
Yeah. Thankfully, the boys have a good relationship, and they understand, that everybody has one common goal on the field, and we're going to do whatever it takes for us to accomplish those goals that we have on the field. And they take criticism fairly well, and they have that growth mindset. They want to do better, and they want to improve every game, and that's part of it. Being able to doesn't matter who is telling you feedback and who's trying to give you instruction on the field. You have to respect them, and you have to take it for what it is.
Handful of minutes left here with Frank Zamora, the boys head coach at Johnson-Gainesville, as we get ready for GAC and Johnson tomorrow night on the network, giving us a breakdown and a preview. When you go back to the first day that you were head coach at that program, and you look at the development that you have been able to be a part of to get Johnson-Gainesville to the recognition and the titles and players that get to go to the next level, which I know is also a part of this whole process. First off, do you remember your first day on the job? And then do you ever get the chance to sit there and think about everything that has happened to grow the program to where it is today?
Obviously I stepped into a program that was, already a good program, and so I was nervous. I was excited, excited for the challenge, but at the same time, felt the pressure of, hey, I got to take a good program and make it even better. And so, I was excited, nervous, a little bit of everything there, that the feelings from day one, man. And to see where it's gone since then has been a true blessing for me. In terms of just the overall development of the program, right? Obviously, the talented players that we've gotten over the last couple of years, the community support that we've gotten, players being able to pursue soccer at the next level, just seeing the growth in academics as well. It's been a true blessing to me, but obviously I wouldn't be able to do it without the support of my administration, support of my community, support of my family, my wife, my daughter, who, are Johnson's biggest fans, and they're always there with me. They're the ones to see a lot of things that other people don't see: the pressure, the stress, the long nights of film, and losing a game early on, and trying to figure out what went wrong and how we fix it, right after the game. And so I've been truly blessed to be a part of Johnson soccer and just to see the growth, and I'm excited to see where it can still go. I think definitely we're a good program, but we can always improve, and it takes a lot of hard work, dedication from just multiple people.
How would you describe what football means to Hall County and what you've been able to see there with Johnson, with Gainesville, with all the directional schools? What does football mean to Hall County and the Gainesville area?
It's passion. It's a way of life here in Hall County, very similar to Whitfield County, where you have multiple schools that are very talented, and the community rallies behind each school. And, a soccer game here on a Friday night resembles a football game, anywhere else. And so it's been, again, a blessing to see soccer grow so much, not just in Hall County, but in the state and the U.S., becoming very, very popular. And soccer's my passion. And to see that, it's definitely a fulfilling feeling and to me. But yeah, man, Hall County is loaded with talent. Every game we play against the county schools is a rivalry. The stadiums are going to be packed. The boys grow up playing together at club. They see each other at church and the community. And so it's always special for them to play their friends against their friends Friday nights. But I would, if I could describe it in one word, it's just a passion here in Hall County.
No doubt about it. It's going to be really fun to see it coming up tomorrow with the GAC and Johnson-Gainesville on the network. As always, my friend, great to see you. Great to see things continue to grow and evolve here early on in the season as you get into the heart of region play. GAC, Johnson-Gainesville on the SDH Network tomorrow. Frank, go get some lunch, and we'll catch up with you soon. We'll see you tomorrow, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
That's Frank Zamora. He's the boys head coach at Johnson-Gainesville. It's always very, very cool to catch up with him and go to a place like the Dungeon. It's a really special environment. And each environment that we go to has its own personalities. And for us, when we get the chance to go to Johnson, it's a chance to see the personality of the Dungeon and Johnson-Gainesville come to the fore. And now that we're going up against, you're going to be in the heart of region play, you get to hang out and get to see that as well. So it's great when we get to go up there and we get to see all of the matchups with the Whitfield County schools, all of the teams that come from the state of Alabama that we've had in the past. We've had boys matchups from Alabama come over to Johnson-Gainesville. And we can't thank Coach Zamora and everybody there at Johnson-Gainesville enough for being an integral part of what we're doing here at SDH. So once again, matches tomorrow with Johnson-Gainesville and with GAC. Just so you have that, 5:30 and 7:30. It is girls and boys, 5:30 and 7:30 on the network. Once again, soccerdownhere.mixler.com and also on the Mixler app. And you follow Soccer Down Here, and you make sure that you follow SDH2. So when something happens, email notifications pop up. Oh, there's a live game, and then you go into the live game, and you are you're locked into everything that we do here at SDH. Want to thank all of our sponsors that are a part of what we do for high school soccer in and around the state of Georgia and here in the Southeast. We want to thank our friends at Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. TouchLink, a leading provider of video highlights and analytics services benefiting coaches and administrators at all levels of the game. That is TouchLYNK. Future Stars Soccer Academy, where kids get the chances to develop their skills on the campus of Oglethorpe University for 5 weeks each summer. The Moxie Hotel in Midtown Atlanta. Everything you need in a boutique hotel with a fun-loving atmosphere. And as always, our friends at Kaiser Permanente, presenting sponsor for everything that we do here at SDH and the high school soccer here on the SDH Network. Once again, quick reminder, if you have not done this, you can do this. You can go to group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join, group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. So let me see if I can do this. Group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join, and you can become a Fanatico for $10 a year. Group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. You can become a Fanatico. And what do you get being a Fanatico here at SDH? Well, first and foremost, here's the Chant app, by the way. And you get in, you log in as a Fanatico. There you go. And all the things involved with SDH and the Chant app. You get a lot of discounts from a lot of different places in and around the area. And to be able to do that, it's breweries, pubs, soccer retail stores. Lloyd Soccer Shop has discounts attached to certain Atlanta United gear, hotels, comedy theaters, and much, much more, including a resort in Costa Rica. Chateau Arenal is on the list of places that you can benefit from by being a Fanatico here and signing up on the Chant app and being an SDH Fanatico for $10 a year. Exclusive access to the group on the Chant app to stay better connected to what we do on the SDH app. And once again, group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. You can become a Fanatico there, $10 a year, and you get a lot of really cool discounts, a lot of different places, like I said, including a resort in Costa Rica. So if you want to go and see Herediano, you want to go see Saprissa, you want to go see Alajuelense, you can go stay at the Chateau Arenal. If you are a Fanatico, you get a code, and it helps you with your bottom line down there in Costa Rica. So once again, it's Tires Plus, one of their locations, a lot of the local breweries and establishments, and then once again, the Moxie Hotel in Midtown Atlanta, you get discounts and all those kinds of things. Moxie is the home for our third Thursday events that we have monthly during the year. Our first third Thursday event scheduled for this Thursday, the 20th, week from today. And we'll catch up with you at the Moxie Hotel in Midtown Atlanta. Very, very cool that Moxie is a partner with us as well. Also, another partner, our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring and BeyondGoalsMentoring.com. It is led by Atlanta United legends Michael Parkhurst and Greg Garza. They take a holistic approach to mentoring and helps young soccer players reach their goals through individualized advice and custom plans. Learn more at BeyondGoalsMentoring.com. So BeyondGoalsMentoring.com, and it is group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. So there you go. That's all of the notes that we have for all of our partners here at SDH. Also, you can go to Olive & York, get the SDH jersey, and it is a Navy jersey. You can either get it in white or Carolina blue personalization. You can get that there. You can help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. You can buy their gear. The gear and everything else comes from England. The scarves, modeled by our own Maddie Cruz. It is on the other side of this wall here in the studio, and I can get those to you. You purchase the scarf to help out the Fed. I ship it from here in Office HD. Also, our collaboration with Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. The soccer is just better in Atlanta. Gear that you see us wear, either in the red or the black, with the Soccer Down Here logo on the sleeve, and proceeds from that help out the middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public Schools. So once again, very, very cool stuff from our friends at Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. Jeremy Moore, the head coach at Toombs County, set to join us in about 10 minutes. And we will go over what is on his mind and what Toombs can do. What can Toombs do for an encore? So we'll get into that coming up in just a little bit and find out what's going on in the world of the Toombs County soccer program. So we'll catch up with him in just a little bit. Let's go over the rankings, courtesy of our friends at Scoreboard, and go through some of the numbers so far this season. We'll start you off on the boys' side, and we will start off in 6A. Norcross out of the blocks at 8-0-1. Lambert, who we've had on the network so far this season, up against West Forsyth. Archer at 8-0. Harrison at 8-1. Marietta 6-0. Grayson 7-1. North Atlanta, we've had them on the network twice this year already. South Forsyth at 6-2. Decula and Carrollton both at 7-1 heading into this week. 5A, your poll, River Ridge, and we're going to be spending some time with River Ridge this season without question. Boys side 9-0, 3-0 in class. McIntosh at 9-1, Johns Creek at 9-1. We've had the chance to see them this season already with the Creek Cup that we had to broadcast to start our season. Sprayberry, Clark Central out of the blocks at 8-0. Lassiter and Gainesville had Gainesville and North Gwinnett on the network, and they are both at 7-1. Alexander at 8-1, Woodward at 5-1, and Roswell right now at 5-4, an early challenging schedule for the Hornets in 5A. The coaches poll in quad, Dalton on top at 8-0, Marist at 5-0, Westminster 5-1, Perry, and we're going to catch up with our friends in Perry in short order and catch up with Coach Duke and find out what's going on down there at the Perry Panthers. St. Pius is ranked number 5, BT at number 6, Pace, Clarkston, Cedartown, and Walnut Grove. And we are going to see if we can hang out with our friends in Clarkston as Clarkston takes on Druid Hills in a big DeKalb County battle. That is next week. And it looks like Jeremy Moore might have gotten all of his green lights. It looks like he got all the green lights in getting in. So I can see Jeremy in the green room. Jeremy, are you good to go or are you having lunch? You give me a thumbs up. You thumbs up or thumbs down. You ready to go? I think it's a shrug of the shoulder. So we'll go ahead and bring Jeremy in and see what's going on in Toombs County. So Jeremy, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for dropping by.
Appreciate you having me, man. Always a good time.
No worries. When you looked at expectations coming into this year, what were they and what was the offseason like to get right now to where we are, where you're top ranked in Class A D1 on the boys' side?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you win the state title the previous year and you're going to have, high expectations coming in. So, we sit down with the guys at the beginning of the season and going into the off season about expectations and where the standard's been set. And, we've seen it so far this year, but you feel like everybody's going to come in gunning for you because you're the team to beat. You're the defending state champ. So we've worked a lot on just team mentality, going in. And, we scrimmaged Bradwell preseason and didn't look good. And we've looked better since then. But, we talk after that game about a lot of the guys last year, even that started for us and that played a good bit off the bench, didn't have to be the guy on most nights. That senior group last year and these guys this year having to step up. So it's been a challenge, getting the guys ready. It's one of those where if you're not mentally prepared every night, you're going to get punched in the mouth. And we've played a really tough schedule so far. 3 losses to the top team in AA, one of the top teams in our D1 private region last Tuesday night in penalties, and then Applin, who's was 5 or 6 at one point in AA. So just it's tough getting the guys to realize that everybody's going to gun for you this year.
No doubt. We got the chance to catch up with Jeff Davis and Appling in Hazelhurst earlier this week. So I know firsthand 2 of those teams that have been on your schedule. The way that your grid works so far, you go to Alma, you beat Bacon County, you go to Hazelhurst, you beat Jeff Davis, then you put 7 on East Orange, you beat SCB. All right, explain what happened in the Appling game. A 9-goal thriller in a 5-4 game.
Yeah, our defense last year, you get kind of spoiled with what we had last year, and we go into that game, and I think that was a game we went in, and after the Bradwell, just we laid an egg and gave up 5 in the first half against them. I think 4-0 going into the Appling game with 4 shutouts, and so I think we were flat, and they came in, and they played really well. We're up 4-3 with 2 minutes left, and we convert a PK with like 2 or 3 minutes left to go up 4-3, and then they come back down and cross the ball in, tied up, and then next thing you know, we just have a blunder in the back with 90 seconds left, and they put a ball in the back of the net. It was just we don't typically give up 5 goals, but you give credit Appling very good offensively. They're putting up a lot of goals against I think everybody they play. Yeah, I just think it's one. Talk with the guys, learning experience. I think it's one of those where they're coming in gunning. They watched us make that playoff run last year, and they circle that game on their schedule this year. That's the team we want to beat, and they came in and played that way. And then talking with Lawson at Jeff Davis, I think 3 or 4 matches this year for Appling, and credit to them, they've scored in the last 2 or 3 minutes to either tie a match up and get to overtime or get to the PKs. With Jeff Davis, and then like I said, with us, we go up 4-3, and they score 2 in 2 minutes and get a huge win for their program. So yeah, it was a wild night. It was the guys are disappointed. It's kind of a shell shock. Just we go up, they died. We go up, they died. It was just one of those things. They played really good offensively, and we thought we could score on them, and we did, but we didn't play great. But you give them credit; they got 3 or 4 guys that can create on offense and can score almost anybody. So it's just one of those nights.
Yeah, they were down 4-2, came back and scored to make it 4-3, scored with under 2 minutes to go to take it to 4, and then they went to penalties, eventually losing there in Hazelhurst. But the loss to Appling, and you come back, you shut out Vidalia, you lose in Blackshear to Pierce, then you beat Bullock Academy, and then you have the loss in extras to Savannah Country Day. What have you learned about yourself in the losses this season that you can carry forward with you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got some good wins on our schedule. It's crazy how these power rankings work. I tend to overanalyze, and when all this comes out last year, coach is calling me, "What are you doing? How are you using it?" And so, I took the approach of just trying to find good quality opponents that traditionally are going to win a lot of games. So, we've dropped three games to 3 teams that are winning a lot of ball games, and we're every time we lose, power rankings drop slightly, but we're still on the power ranking side on the public. Which is what we look at. We're still sitting number 1, but again, losing to Country Day drops you to 2 in the region. So, it was a tough loss Tuesday night. We knew Savannah Country Day, they're loaded every year. They'll get in that single A, triple A private bracket and make a lot of noise this year. They got a really good group. We go out and score 12 seconds into the match against them. They had a misplay in the back, and a striker puts it away, and we settled in, and a good game. They scored in the second half. We go to PKs and lose. And we talked about it afterwards, and then the day after about making sure we keep our identity. The way we played last year, we got a little bit into just playing balls over the top against Country Day, and that doesn't work. We don't have a super speedy striker to play that ball in. We're better with the connecting passes and just working forward as a unit. And we kind of got out of that a little bit. The Pierce game, Pierce has got a great group this year. They play with a lot of energy. And we just went down there flat. I'll take those losses as long as we're learning from them, like you said, and we're trying to find our identity. We're going to look different than we were last year. It's a different group. We lost 5 really good seniors that started on that team last year, and so we're still we're not playing bad, but we still don't really know our identity in terms of how we move the ball. We didn't look. I told the guys, I said, for us to go down to Country Day and take those guys to PKs, I felt like we played a B-level game. I don't think we played as good as we could. We just kind of looked out of sorts. So we're still trying to round into who we are and what we do with the ball and how we move as a unit. And so we're trying to learn each time we take a loss and just come back and say, hey guys, we got to improve here. We got to tie these together better. And so we're just, the 3 losses have been tough. 2 of them have been really close. One we got beat pretty good by Pierce, but just trying to look at each one and say, hey, what do we need to fix? What are we not doing right? And we've responded pretty well after each loss. We'll see. We got Savannah Christian tonight, who seems like they're playing a lot better now. So that'll be a good challenge tonight, coming off that tough loss to Country Day.
When it comes to your roster this year, somebody comes wandering in to see Toombs play for the first time this season. Who are some of the folks that the folks in the stands will gravitate toward? Who are some of the headliners for you so far this year?
It's kind of crazy to look at, because I've had a couple of people ask me that. I don't know that, if you look at our stats, we're very, very balanced scoring. I don't have, the Giovanni Zamorano that scored 24 goals last year. I thought coming in we could have 4 or 5 goals and guys in double digits with goals, but it really is a different guy every night. We've got 6, 7, 8 guys, even guys coming off the bench. A guy starting now because of a couple of injuries that he scored a couple of really big goals, but then he can go in and shell some nights. And this guy steps up and this guy steps up. I really don't know that we have a guy we point to offensively that is just the guy that everybody has to mark up and stop. Again, I got 6, 7, 8 guys that are scoring on any given night. Very balanced. Don't have one dominant guy. We're still shifting guys around, trying to figure out who are our 2 guys up top. We're got a good defender that we've converted to striker. Got a striker we've converted to defender who's playing really well. So I know that's probably a political answer, but I really can't point you at 1 or 2 guys in our offense right now that have just really every night stood out like that's the dude for us. Really, 6, 7 guys that come in and any guy can score. And we beat Vidalia, who's got a good group this year. And I had a freshman that comes in that's a really good player that's really developing, and he'll help us down the stretch. Goes in as a sub and scores 2 great goals against them. And then one of my seniors who struggled a little bit this year scores. And then the sophomore or the junior that has to come in for an injured kid are the 4 goals. So if you had told me going into that game, my 4 or 5 top guys wouldn't score and we're going to win 4-0, I'd have thought you were crazy. So it's, that night 3 guys score that I would not have guessed would have been our guys. So it's just, it's any given night, different guys stepping up and putting balls in the back of the net for us.
But considering graduation and needing to try and figure out how you're going to be, having different folks step up every night, I think that balance early on in the year helps you out with those losses that you had from last season.
Yeah, and like you said, I told our guys, I'm okay losing if we're playing good teams and we're playing well and we're getting better. Like I said, it looks so different this year with the public-private split at the end. Of course, we're in a region with 3 private schools and 4 public schools, and so we have to battle them in regular season, and then you split in the postseason. And there's still a handful of teams in the public side that are really, really good, I think, based on history and what you're seeing this year. But I keep telling our guys, I got one, the guy I thought was going to come in and be our best offensive player this year. He was hurt some last year, but got healthy in the postseason and had some really good minutes for us in the playoffs, a couple goals, a couple assists that really helped us win a couple of those late games. And, he comes out this year, plays 2 minutes in the scrimmage and pulls his hamstring. And he's been out for 6 weeks now, 5 weeks. He takes a PK against Country Day for us and scores it, but, in the shootout, but can't get in the field yet. We want him back in, but I think he's, we're trying to save him for the playoffs. But, I keep telling the guys, the way the playoffs set up, I think we can compete with anybody in that D1 public bracket on the boys side. And, you got Model, who came down, who we played in the finals last year. Bremen coming down from AAA is always really strong. Thomasville's back down, and they're really strong. Jeff Davis is good. But I don't know that there's anybody that we can't go compete with. In years past when we were younger and didn't have the club systems we have feeding these kids, there's 3 or 4 teams you're like, we need to avoid them. I don't see that this year. Obviously we want a good draw, and I'm not, we can go lose a game if we're not on our A game. But I really look at the D1 public side. I know we're ranked 1 in the coaches poll. Doesn't mean a whole lot, but, learning from these losses, we're going up on spring break and playing Hebron Christian with, 9-0 and probably the favorite in that private bracket. And we know that's going to be a tough game, but it's going to help our power rankings. And we're going to go in and try to work on things to get us better, because we come back from spring break and we play Vidalia for region, and then Jeff Davis the next week. And those are going to be 2 really tough games. So we're just trying to get guys prepared, get minutes right now, that pay off in April and May when we get back in, hopefully make a playoff run again.
Another couple of minutes there with Jeremy Morris, the boys head coach at Toombs, hanging out with us going in session here on a Thursday. And what I wanted to also ask about this time around is what the environment is and what it's turning into there at Toombs with what the soccer program has been able to bring in. So when I mentioned the relationship of soccer and Toombs County, what is it like for someone who's never been there and gets to go in and see it for the first time?
And it's soccer. We talked about this last year, John, and we talked the soccer community in rural South Georgia has blown up in the last 10 to 15 years, man. I know you were at the Apple and Jeff Davis game, and that atmosphere, that's a rivalry, two predominantly Hispanic teams. They live 15 minutes apart. They play the weekend leagues together. We played Vidalia the other night for non-region and had a huge crowd. And obviously the winning, Tatnall winning it 2 years ago and us winning it last year helps the popularity of it. But, Appleton County's got a great group. Jeff Davis is going to have a great group every year. Claxton adding, these schools that have added, it's just the culture here has grown so much. And it's, 10, 15 years ago, soccer was that new fringe sport that I always said it's one of those that, like, in these small schools, it was like if you didn't do any other spring sports, you just go do soccer if you wanted to do something. Now it's one of those where, like, I had 48 guys try out last year. I had to cut 10 or 12 guys because I didn't have room with a full varsity and JV. And, I got 30, 35, 37 guys this year. And it's just, it's grown. It's hard to describe how it's grown. I grew up here in Vidalia and played at Vidalia, and it just watching it over the years where it's not American football, but it is so much more mainstream, even in the small towns with the Hispanic growth and the culture, man. Our quarterfinal and semifinals games at home last year in the playoffs, we had 600-700 people here. And then you go to Macon and you listen to even the commentators when I went back and watched that game. And, I've gone back and watched it once or twice. But the commentators commenting on, it looked like the entire Lions community was there, man. We had the football team there supporting us. We sold white shirts, and it looked like an entire half section of the bleachers were in those white shirts. And just the excitement rolling in this year, it's grown. And we get to keep our gates. Everybody does it different. We pay, but we're making money every night we have a home game. And 10 years ago, nobody was doing that in soccer. People don't realize referees are $500-600 a night for a doubleheader, and we're putting money. It's a fundraiser for us. I mean, we're putting $1,500, $2,500, $2,500 a night on gates in our account, and that goes back to our kids. So it's crazy to see how much more popular it is than 10, 15 years ago when it was just kind of that other sport. And it, again, the number of kids getting involved at a younger age, it's hard to really put in words how much it's grown in the South. And again, you look at the last 3 or 4 years where these teams, these public schools in the South have competed with the North Georgia schools, with the Metro Atlanta schools on the lower levels. It's just, I love seeing it, obviously, because I'm from here. But 10 years ago, nobody from down here thought about winning state titles. Nobody thought about competing with those big, the traditional powerhouses. And now it's a reality. I mean, these kids are putting the time in, just like those kids up there. Sometimes they have to travel hour and a half to go to that club they're playing with. But those kids are committed. They do it. They started in at 9 or 10 or in middle school, and they get that development. And they play on the same team together. That club, and then they come into high school, and the level of what these kids play at has gotten so much higher than 8, 10, 12 years ago. So it's been really neat to see, and just the community support, the atmosphere at the games. It's really, really fun to just sit back and kind of watch sometimes.
48 tried out?
Yeah, last year, and that's in the girls' side for us has grown as well. But yeah, we're a school of 850 kids. And so, last year and I've never had to cut because of, hold on a second, the lights cut off.
You stood still for the longest period of time, and a motion sensor decided.
Yeah, it hit us last year. But, 850 kids in a small South Georgia school, and I've got 48, 49 guys going through conditioning, going to tryouts, and I hated to cut, but it's just one of those things. We don't have the staff. We don't have, I could have had 3 teams last year. I could have had a varsity JV and like a 9th grade team, but nobody around here does that. So there would have been no chance to get games for that. I mean, I really could have kept and split 3 teams. I don't have the staff for that, and I don't have, the teams to play us in that. But yeah, I mean, we had 48 guys this year, 38 this year, I think. So it's a blessing. And I've got 2 really good, I coach both groups. I've got a JV coach on each side of the system that have done really, really good jobs. I tell my JV girls coach they need 101 level fundamentals because they don't really know how to kick a ball, and also that's all he does, man. He goes out there at practice and just teaches them like they're new kids. And then our boys side's a little more advanced. My JV coach for that does a really good job of pushing those guys to getting them ready to come up in a year or 2 to play varsity. So it's the numbers have benefited us from those kids that might not play until their junior or senior year. Maybe they come out as a freshman and they sit on the bench all year and don't ever get to play. Well, they're going to quit. They're going to get frustrated and they're going to get discouraged and quit. So now they play JV, and we play 12, 13 games. We got a little JV cup down here. We host at Toombs that gets them a little competition with schools from other areas, and it encourages them, but it also gets them developing and gets them in those game situations, which has been invaluable to us in terms of just developing depth where we've got 4 or 5 guys on varsity sitting on the bench that are really quality players that can come in and play.
Last question for you. Who is the resident mathematician who determines power rankings there on campus and figures out margins and all that kind of stuff? Who does your math?
I'm an analytics guy. I taught middle school math years ago. I'm a SPED teacher now, but I probably overanalyzed it more than anybody. I was figuring out, I'm trying to figure out if, I don't like that they didn't put a multiplier in for playing bigger schools. So a couple buddies of mine at bigger schools, I had to call them and say, I love you, but I'm not playing you next year because it doesn't benefit me to play a 5A school that's going to go 500. So, I talked to the softball coach. Our softball team had a great run last fall, state runner-up, and we kind of looked at it and was like trying to figure out, playing out scenarios. Is it better to play a really good team and lose that's going to win a bunch of games, or to play a weaker team that we can beat that might not win but 2 or 3 games? And I kind of leaned toward play the quality teams that are going to win a lot of games. And so far that's worked for us. We've lost to Pierce, Appling, and Country Day, which Country Day is region, but all 3 of those teams are at the top of their power rankings. And so it really hadn't hurt us when we lose those 3 games. So, I know our football coach looked at it, but I know he was, with football getting 10 games, it's more of, can we just find decent opponents? And I know some people didn't want to play us last year in football, but I'd say me and the softball coach and the baseball coach probably did a little bit of analyzing and trying to figure out, all right, who do I need to call to play? And it's going to be a work in progress. I've already heard rumors about changing certain things and different things like that. But at the end of the day, it's like one of the coaches said to me, win good, lose bad. So, at the end of the day, we want to win a lot more than we lose, and just put ourselves in good position to have a couple home games in the playoffs. And then, at that point, you get to the quarterfinals, everybody's good. You want to be at home, but like I said, with us dropping to Country Day, we're probably going to fall to at least, or we will fall at least second in the region. So, you don't get one of those top spots. It's just I scratch my head a little bit if we end up. I know there's a lot to play. If we end up as the number 1 public team in the power rankings and we dropped to 6 or 7 because we didn't win a region against Savannah Country Day. Same thing happened to our football team, though. The best team in AA last year, and they go down there and lose a tough one to Savannah Christian and drop to the 6th seed, and have to go to Dublin in the semis and go over there and won pretty big against them, and obviously won the state championship. But I tell my guys, same thing. We lose to a really good private school. We dropped to 6 or 7. We're going to hopefully do the same thing football did. So. Yeah, we analyze it. Like I said, at the end of the day, you schedule your games. It's funny. I look every day, and I'm looking at obviously our record, and then I'm looking at every night who's playing, and hey, I need that team to win because it's going to boost me a little bit. So we played East Lawrence. They're not in our region. I see their boys winning some games. It's good for us. Pierce keeps winning. That's good for us. So I analyze it a good bit, and then like I said, you can sit there with those 3 categories and analyze all day. But at the end of the day, you schedule a team you think's going to win 15 games, and they lost everybody last year and they win 5 games. So what do you do? But I think you schedule good quality opponents and get your team better, and win every game you can, and we don't have any bad losses yet this year, and I hope we don't. But that's what really going to drop you. You lose a game you shouldn't lose to a team that hadn't won a lot. But we can sit here and analyze all day, but like I said, win good, lose bad. So.
And I just had this vision now of you and Buddy Martin hovering over a table trying to do math,
yeah,
figure things out with power rankings. It's always great to see you, my friend. Thanks for dropping by early as we restart in session here for the 25 season. Be keeping an eye on you. Be knocking on your door to disrupt your lunch hour as much as we can when it comes to the soccer season. Thanks for dropping by again, as always.
Well, John, we appreciate what you do, man. Anytime you want me on talk to promote soccer, glad to do it, man. Appreciate you having me.
Be good. That's Jeremy Moore. He is at Toombs. We wanted to talk a little boys, but we could talk boys. We talked girls. We talked power rankings. We talked everything. We even talked motion sensors when it came to lights. So I think we found that if you sit in a classroom at Toombs County High for 20 minutes and you don't move, then the sensors go off and then the lights go off in the room. I think 20 minutes is the timer. And so I think that's how we do things. But no, it's great to catch up with Coach Graves at GAC, Coach Zamora at Johnson-Gainesville as they get ready for that matchup. Once again, it's boys and girls, 5:30, 7:30 up at the Dungeon. We'll have that one on tomorrow night. And today it is 5:30, 7:30 boys, girls with Hampton visiting Eagles Landing. We'll have that one on the network once again, boys at 5:30 and the girls at 7:30. Have that one on the network at our Mixler site, soccerdownhere.mixler.com, or you can go download the Mixler app, follow Soccer Down Here and SDH2, and then that way you can make sure that you are up to date with everything going on here. I know that before that we go, I wanted to run through the rest of the rankings. In AD1 on the boys' side, Toombs, Bremen, Thomasville, a lot of familiar names from our conversation with Jeremy. Model, Putnam County, Jeff Davis, number 6 at 4-4, Swainsboro, Lamar, Armurchie, and Towers. Towers and Social Circle are playing today, I believe, on the boys and girls sides. AD2 on the boys' side, Dooley at 10-0. We're going to be calling Eastman and finding out what's going on down there. GMC, Metter, Atco, Tryon, Lincoln County. We've had them on the air this season already. LOA, Towns. We need to catch up with them. Atlanta Classical Academy, and Portal. That's your top 10 in Class A. AA on the boys' side, Columbus, calling them. Morgan County, Callaway, Appling. Once again, we had them on the network with the matchup earlier in the week with Jeff Davis. Pike, Hart, Pierce, North Murray, Crisp, and Jackson. That is your look in AA. In AAA on the boys' top 10, Northwest Whitfield. We'll be catching up with them. Johnson-Gainesville, we'll be seeing them. Oconee County, Whitewater, Chestatee, West Lawrence, Jefferson. We'll be heading that direction fairly soon. Islands, Monroe area, and LaGrange. In Quad A, as we've talked about 5 and 6. Quad A, once again, Dalton, Marist, Westminster, Perry. We're calling Coach Dooley soon. Pius, BT, Pace, Clarkston, Cedartown, and Walnut Grove. So in the interest of fairness, we'll go and let you know what's going on the girls' side of things before we get out of here. And I know that we've gone long, and I apologize for that once again. It is Hampton Eagles Landing, 5:30, 7:30 later today. So 6A, we'll go 6A all the way down to Class A. West Forsyth, Buford, Brookwood, Walton, Harrison, Lambert, Campbell, North Gwinnett, North Atlanta, and Norcross. We've already had some of those teams on our air this year. 5A in the top 10. Roswell, Northgate, Lassiter, Pope, McIntosh, Johns Creek, Lanier, Alexander, Lakeside, DeKalb, and Jackson County at 5 and 2. In Quad A, BT, North Oconee, Marist, Pace, Cambridge, Westminster, Alatoona, Stars Mill, Pius, and Northside Columbus, who's at 6 and 2 right now. The AAA to single A private girls top 10. So the private rankings on the girls' side: GAC, Wesleyan, Holy Innocents, Fellowship Christian, Hebron Christian, Lovett, Whitfield, Paideia, Walker, and Mount Perrin. On the girls' side, exclusively AAA, Adairsville, Sandy Creek, Oconee County, Jefferson, Lumpkin County, ARC, Johnson, Gainesville, Dawson County, Luella, and Cherokee Bluff. In AA, Pike, Columbus, Morgan County, Callaway, Sonoraville, East Jackson, Coahulla Creek, Stevens County, Savannah Arts, and Hart. In AA, we mentioned AA. So single A, D1 on the girls' side, Bremen Social Circle, Ace, Charter, Jeff Davis, Model, East Lawrence, Toombs, Bleckley County, Swainsboro, and Thomasville. And in AD2 in the top 10 on the girls' side, Atlanta Classical, Portal Screven, LOA, Dooley, Irwin, Tryon, Towns, Georgia Military, and the Eagles of Crawford County from Roberta coming in at number 10 in the polls. So once again, that is your rundown. Soccer's in session presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Sorry we went long. Traditionally, we try to keep it to an hour because coaches have lunch hours and things like that, but we were stacked today. Once again, thanks to Tia Graves at GAC. Thanks to Frank Zamora at Johnson-Gainesville. Thanks to Jeremy Moore at Toombs. And thanks to you for hanging out with all of us when it comes to the high school game here on the SDH Network. It's another ending for Soccer's in Session. We'll be back next week, noon Wednesday, back to our normal noon Wednesday time slot, travel permitting. Noon Wednesday, Soccer's in Session here on the SDH Network. Stick and say mucho platiel. Played safe, everybody. And since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. We will see you at Eagles Landing tonight. Hampton, Eagles Landing, 5:30 and 7:30 on the network. Be safe, everybody. We'll see you soon.